Good morning and welcome to Backyard and Beyond. This morning we have a couple of special guests with us from England. They've been visiting and making Harrisdale Homestead their home away from home. And so we want to say good morning to you, Beryl.
Good morning.
And to you, Sid.
Good morning.
We've been so happy to have you here and just visit with you. Always a smile. And you know, that's just the greatest thing to have happen around you. So I guess first I wanted to talk a little bit about your home, where you live in England, and a little bit about what it's like living there. So Beryl, let's start with you. I know you love your yard, so tell us a little bit about. I guess we'll start with the weather, because that affects your weather or your yard so much.
Yeah, well, it gets very wet in England. You have a lot of rain, which is why it is always so green, which all you Americans seem to love. Mm-hmm. But it can be awkward because you can't plan your days around it, because you never know when it's going to rain or sunshine.
But if you really want to do something, you just go out in it anyhow, don't you?
You have to. Yeah. Otherwise you'd never get out. You'd never do anything.
And Sid, what's your favorite time of the year in England related to weather?
Anytime, summer, because obviously that's when you can go out. Mm-hmm. But winter's nice because you get that crisp air, so you wrap up and go out again. So it's the worst time, I say, is rain, because you get wet, but any other time is great.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that Americans love to do is barbecue, have their grill outside. Are you a barbecuer?
No. I bought a barbecue because we invite friends round, so I bought a barbecue for that. And when we get back, we've got one in June and one in July. We're probably about 14, 16 people will come round.
So you say, no, I don't believe that. When you have that many people coming to your house to eat barbecue with your back grill, you fit the bill, that's for sure. So let's talk a little more about England in general. I know that you travel across the country in England. What are some of the favorite spots that you like to visit other than your own home, Beryl?
The coast, because you can go there. Everything's different, and when you go to the coast, you treat yourself and have fish and chips, traditional fish and chips, and hopefully, if the weather's good again, you take it out of the cafe or the restaurant and you eat it outside, out of the paper, with your fingers. There's no other way to do it. And back home, we don't have fish and chips because it's not healthy eating. And I won't let Sid have it.
Let's talk a little bit about driving, because I know when you go to those favorite spots, you drive. What's the price of gas, or you would say petrol?
Well, ours at the moment is about £1.40. But depending on what the exchange rate is, I think it's around about $10, $11 a gallon.
Okay, folks, so when you drive up to the pump and it's $3 to $3.50 and we go, oh, not again, we need to maybe appreciate that that's the price it is.
Yes, because your gas, shall we say, or petrol in our case, it comes down in price. While we've been here, it went up to $3.45, and we filled up yesterday for $3.35. Mm-hmm. So it comes down in price. We went to Omaha, to the zoo, and as we came back, we filled up, and it was $3.35. A few days prior to that, it was $3.39.
Mm-hmm. So that never happens in England?
No, when the price goes up, it stays up, or it might come down a penny, but it usually goes up 20 pence, and then comes down a penny. But yeah, most of the time it just goes up and stays up.
Okay, so folks, quit whining and complaining when you fill up. I know if it's your business and you're out there going to farm, it affects a lot of other things, but we are fortunate in a lot of different ways. I want to talk about now kind of you mentioned you'd been to Omaha, some of the things that you've been doing and some of your favorite things, but you've been to Iowa a couple of times. I'm wondering, Sid, what were some of your first impressions or things that were different than you expected in Iowa? Did it look different? Did people treat you differently? How was it different than what you thought it might be, or what was your first impression?
Well, bear in mind at that particular time we just come from Los Angeles. So Los Angeles is busy and crowded and hectic. and you come out here and it's quiet. You don't see many people, and if you do see them, they're in the cars. Not many people walk here. Man, there's not many people walk in LA either, but it's a lot of open spaces, and you see no one. You're driving around and no one, at this time of year anyway, there's no one in the fields and no one, so you don't see people.
So what about you, Beryl? What were some of the things that you expected or didn't expect or really like about Iowa?
Well, when you're driving along the road, you can see the end of the road. Then when you get there, it's just the brow of the hill. And you get there and you see the same. And you get to the next brow of the hill, and there it is again. You just go on forever and ever on long, straight roads.
So do you like that? I mean, do you really like that, or it's just interesting?
It's interesting, and if you're driving, it can be very tiring because there's no variety. In England, we have twisting roads, and you never know what's around the corner.
Okay, just a different view of things. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you've done here, because you mentioned you were in Omaha. I think you've done that a couple of things. Just Sid mention a couple of things that you visited in Omaha.
Well, we just went to the library, to the zoo, and then we went to the gardens and saw the 2 trains, and they were interesting because they're larger than ours. Ours are similar but smaller. And I think once you had the Flying Scotsman, which is a famous train in its day, and when it came here it was so small that nobody was interested. But the thing about it here is you tend not to look after your history. You've got, just down the road, you've got Jesse James, where he robbed the first moving train. And only things there is 2 lines and a plaque up. There's nothing to say. And his house where he had his breakfast and that is virtually derelict. It's up for sale, but it's derelict. You don't promote things as such.
Yeah, respect that history and kind of save it. It's just like we move on and forget what was in the past, sort of. And so, Beryl, what about you? What are some things that you've enjoyed doing?
I like the boulder out at Greenfields. I think that is so beautiful, and it just amazes me every time I see it. It really does. Yeah.
What about anything special at the zoo that you liked?
Oh, the gorillas. I love gorillas. I really do. And of course the aquarium, the new aquarium, that's good as well. But it's a very, very good zoo for such a small place, for such a small area, town, out in the wilds, the Midwest. It really is a brilliant zoo.
Yeah, I do have to mention that it just recently was featured as one of the top 9 places to visit to see animals, and so Omaha is right up there amongst the famous ones, along with the San Diego Zoo. So now you're going back to LA for a while. What are some of your favorite things in LA in that area?
Universal Studios, because we like the Simpson ride and all that type of thing. It's nice. So, and Beryl likes going up Rodeo Drive. I don't, because I have to walk up Rodeo Drive with no money, no credit cards, and no shirt on my bike, because they would even take my shirt off my bike.
Rodeo Drive, it's a famous place to see, but most of us probably don't do much stopping or shopping there. Beryl, what about you? What are some of the things in the LA area that you really like? I know you like Universal too.
Yeah, I like Universal, but I just like the whole atmosphere of the Americans. I like to go to Little Venice and walk along the sidewalk there during the day, not at night time. And that again fascinates me, because you never know what you're going to see, like the young up and coming artists just doing their thing and just enjoying life. And LA is now safe. It's probably safer than back home in England. It's, if you're careful, it's safe. Yeah. But I just like the general way of life there.
What's your favorite thing at Universal?
Oh, The Simpsons. I absolutely adore it. I can go on there and just enjoy myself time and time again.
Okay, and so it's great to know that you enjoy some of these things that you've been seeing. We have just a couple of seconds left. Any last thing that you want to react to in terms of your travels in the United States, Sid?
Well, this time we drove from Los Angeles across, so we came over the Rockies. And obviously when you come that way, you don't know what the weather was like, but this time the sun came out, the roads were dry apart from where the snow had come off the mountains and melted, so there was water on the roads. But apart from that, the scenery coming across from Los Angeles to here was out of this world. It's like watching the movies, the old cowboys, with the hills and the rocks and everything like that. And then we saw people skiing, and that it was a fantastic drive. We didn't stop, but as we were driving past, we saw them, and it was a fantastic day. The hardest drive was from Denver to here because it was a 10-hour drive. Normally we stopped in St. George, Richfield, Grand Junction, and Denver, which is like 4-hour drives in between. But we had a long drive from Denver to here to get here.
But you made it, and Beryl, you get the last word. Any last thing you'd like to just share with folks? Tell folks how you're feeling about your excursions to the United States.
Oh, we always love coming here, and we always get a warm welcome, and a truly warm welcome. And out here in Iowa, it's, what are you doing here? Why are you here? But it's always a warm welcome.
Well, we want to thank you for your time and for sharing some of your thoughts with us. And until next time, here's a thought. A smile has immense face value.